Flosstube number 20. I am here on quite an early morning. It's 9:30. It's not that early, but it's going to be warm again today. So I thought I'll do it early in the morning, and then when it gets really hot, I can just watch the Olympics. I've been doing that a lot lately. I'm loving it. And actually, we've only just won another gold medal. And I say we, I haven't done anything, but we have won another gold medal. We are ready for another Flosstube. I have quite a lot of stuff around me. I have fully finishes, I have finishes, I have new starts, whips, a bit of sewing, a bit of shopping, and a bit of stitchy kindness that has come my way. So I have quite a full Flosstube again, and it's only been, has it been 2.5 weeks? Because it's the 8th of August today. So it's Thursday, and this will go up, I think, on Friday. So it's been almost 3 weeks, I guess, with stitching. So I've done a lot. I'm obviously not working. I'm full-time stitching. Almost. I've been on holiday, which was lovely. Friesland is very, very pretty. And I've done a lot of cycling and a lot of stitching. I've enjoyed the view. I had a lovely view. If I can find a nice picture, I will put it on the screen so you can see my view over Snakermere. So that was absolutely lovely. For those of you who are new here, I mean, this should have been done at the start, but I'm going to do it now. My name is Hanneke, and I have started this Flosstube over a year ago now, and you're very welcome to be here. And if you are recurring, you are always very welcome to be here too. I have moved past 1900 subscribers, which to me is just crazy. I can't believe that. I told my nephews and they were properly impressed. So I was a cool aunt for a moment. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the 1900. So if you're watching and you like what you see and you're not yet subscribed, please consider doing that and give a thumbs up. Also, because all of that helps with the algorithm and everything. And I don't understand YouTube necessarily, but I do think all those things do help. Anyway, so I thank you all for watching. Let's get started, shall we? Let's start with the fully finishes. Oh, and I had another thing to share before we get into that. I went to Snake by train. Well, I went to Heerenveen by train, and then I cycled. I took my bicycle in the train. And someone recognized me in the train from my Flosstube, and I've never had that before. I never even considered really that could happen. And this lovely, lovely young woman was in the train with me, and just before she left, she asked me if I had aren't you the one from the Flosstube? And I was so taken aback and so surprised. It was just, so I'm sorry if I didn't really know what to say. I didn't really know what to say. But it was really nice that you did ask. And I was sorry that you had to leave the train that quickly, because we could have had a lovely stitchy chat. So if you're watching, that was my first moment where someone recognized me from this, and it was just weird. So, but I do appreciate you saying something, and I do appreciate you watching. So thank you very much for that. Right, fully finishes. I stitched Modern Folk Embroidery, and I stitched 2 of the 8 Biscore new patterns that Jacob has designed. And I have already shown you both of those last time because I'd finished both of those. And now I'm actually made it into a Biscore new. So this is my Biscore new. And this has been stitched on 20 count ivory Aida with soie d'Alger silk, 1 strand of floss. And it was an absolutely lovely stitch. And I love the finished result. What I loved about this is that you can finish this by stitching it. So I don't have to sew it. I don't have to put it in a frame and glue it or whatever. I don't use glue. I use tape usually when I frame something. This is just a very neat, easy finish, and I really enjoyed making it. One of you wrote in the comments and said, it's like magic. And it's so true. When I was putting this together, I kept thinking, oh, look at it. It's happening. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's not too thick. I didn't do anything in the middle because this is 20 count. There's barely any space for anything, so I just made a stitch. I just made a regular cross stitch. And to me, that's enough. Isn't that lovely? Sorry, I'm still playing with where I'm going to put it on the screen. So yeah, I'm loving this. Loving this. And I will make more, and I will tell you about that later on. Yeah, I think this is very pretty. Very pretty. And it was an absolutely lovely stitch to make. So if you have a spare moment and you want to stitch something fun, stitch this. I think it is about 78 or 70 stitches by 70. It's not very big, but it is quite stitch heavy, as you can see. I've seen Biscorn use on Etsy, and they are usually not very stitch heavy, but these are stitch heavy. But I like that. I like having a proper project. And this went very quickly. And the silk is just very pretty. Silk is always pretty. So that's my first fully finish. Happy with that. Then my next full finish, I have to move back because I used Christmas in July stitching for finishing my tablecloth. And that was the only aim I had set myself for these summer weeks. I thought that's the only one I really want to finish, because I think this was my oldest whip. I started this quite soon after I restarted stitching. And so it's been over a year and a half, maybe 2 years that I started this one. I think over a year and a half. And I was ready for it to be finished. But it has become so, so pretty. There you are, all done and dusted. Isn't that lovely? This will look so lovely over Christmas. Now it's the same pattern 4 times. I'm just going to hold it like this and hope that you can see it. So it's the same pattern 4 times, and that's why I stitched it over time. So I would basically do a quarter and then another quarter and then leave it for a couple of months and stitch a little bit again. It is a kit, and it's stitched with Rico floss. And Rico floss is a little bit thicker than DMC, and you stitch it with 2 strands, except for the black. So the black in here was a very thick, slightly glittery floss. I didn't really like it later. I think after a while I wondered why I didn't just use black DMC, because I think I would have preferred that. I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can. It was quite a thick floss, and it just didn't look very nice. And after I've ironed it, it already looks a lot better, but I was a bit worried about that. And then there is a very thin sort of angel hair gold that goes around this bit of stitch, what's it called? Not the cross stitch, but the stitch. Oh, pressing something. Like, my tablecloth is messing with my mouse. There we are. So this one, all finished. I finished it with just a bit of covering on the back to protect the stitches. And this is just the ironing on stuff. So it's all very easy. And I thought for a second I want to put another backing on the back, so like a red fabric, but I won't. I think this is fine as it is. I'm quite happy with this, and I think this will be a lovely addition for my Christmas. Yeah, very happy with this. As I said, it was a Rico kit. Rico has a lot of tablecloths. This is not a tablecloth that is pre-printed. You just have a regular pattern that you have to follow and count. And then in the middle of this tablecloth, everywhere where I stitch, there is sort of an Aida stroke. And I think the Aida is a little bit bigger than 14 count, I think. And because the floss is a little bit bigger, that's fine. You'll have nice coverage. And I had a lot of floss left over. So if you ever consider doing a Rico kit, I genuinely had a lot of floss left over. And I'm not sure I will ever use that again. But it's there, and it's nice to know that those kits are properly stocked. Right, I'm going to have a sip of water, and I'm going to show you my cup, because I show the Royal Albert cups that I have. And I collect these. I have gotten a few more on my holiday, so I now have 45 Royal Albert cup and saucer, and then the lady cup. So this is one of the prettiest ones I have. It was also one of the most expensive ones, and it is Chelsea bird, and it's very, very pretty. It has the teal on the outside, and then it has the peacock in the center, and there is a bit of overexposure, I think, on my lighting. I can't help that because I just have a very big window over there. And then this is the pretty cup. So the back is slightly different from the front. And there is your peacock again. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? There's always a bit of gold around the rim, and then we have the teal again in the middle. I love these. This is a very, very pretty cup. And this one is in very good condition. I mean, it does differ, I do have to say. Right, that's my cup. Let's go into the finishes, because I have 2 finishes, almost 3, mind you. I wanted to finish it, and then I'd done so much on that piece, I left it. So I have 2 finishes. And this is from Winter Baskets. And I have not looked up every designer before I started filming. And I will put everything in my description box, so you can find that below. You can press on something and then it shows up. If you don't know how to do that, feel free to just leave a comment if you're wondering about a certain pattern. Just ask. I usually reply to all comments. I usually do it a week later. So this goes up on Friday, and then the weekend after I will reply to all the comments. I usually sit down on a Sunday and go through it, which is lovely. It's lovely to go through that. This is the first winter basket that I have finished. And I think this is very, very pretty. These are partly the called for colors and partly just from my stash. And I have tried to mimic the picture of this pattern. So it was not my aim to stitch something else or stitch different colors. Or isn't that lovely? I love the jeans blue that goes through it. Yeah, very happy with this one. I haven't dared to sew it yet because I have to sew the corners are different on this one. That's the whole charm of this one. And so I do want to do it like that, but I haven't yet found out how to do that. And I know there's a tutorial on it somewhere. One of you have done a tutorial, so I will look that up and follow it. And I also still have to find the right fabric. So yeah, I'll stitch a few more and then do the finishing in one go. I have the winter basket, I have the spring basket, and I like the autumn basket as well. So I might get that one at some point. Tomorrow I'm going to Belgium, and it was my aim to visit the shop in Ghent. But they have a pop-up shop in Knokke. And Knokke is near the beach. So I decided to cycle there. I can take the boat and then cycle there. It's about 35 kilometers. And stay overnight, visit the shop, and then come back. So I look forward to visiting them in the upcoming days. And they might have this pattern because they have a lot of these kinds of patterns. So if they have the autumn basket, I might be persuaded. This is stitched on, I think, an 18 count, 2 strands of DMC floss. And I think this is a regular beige or nougat. I'm not sure. I think it's nougat actually. Yeah, very pretty. Really enjoyed stitching this one. My next finish went really, really quickly. I started this last time because we were starting into the Olympics and I wanted to stitch something that would commemorate the Olympics because I love the Olympics. I watch a lot. I think for the yesterday I didn't watch any, but the days before that I watched a lot. And I think today again is a day where we have chances of several medals. And I know some of you are from America, and America always gets 1 million medals. But, for a small country, I think we're doing okay. So today I think we have a few medal chances, so I'll watch those. So yeah, I really like the Olympics. Anyway, I stitched the Olympic nose, and I've already finished. This was such fun. I cannot tell you. It was such fun. I just enjoyed every little motif that is on this. I changed some of the colors because I wanted it bright. So I changed the red from a 349 to a 321. So that's a brighter red. This was supposed to be sort of a goldeny yellow brown, and I changed it to a 742, which is a bright yellow. I changed the pink to a brighter pink, and all because I just had them in stash and because I wanted it bright. The faces and the hands I've stitched with a slightly lighter color than they suggest, again because I had that one in stash, so I thought that's fine. And I think it's turned out absolutely lovely. I've loved it. I can only recommend. I've already put the Christmas gnomes on my phone in my Pattern Keeper app, and I will start that one maybe today because I might want to take it with me when I go to Belgium. Yeah. It was such fun to stitch. It's also because you can very quickly, if you have just a moment, pick one color, stitch something, and then feel like you've accomplished something. And it can only be a little bit. I think the colors have worked out great. I'm glad with the changes that I made. So yeah. I also like a certain consistency in this. So all the shoes are black, all the hats are grey. So it's sort of all the grass is the exact same 733 color. I really like that. There's a bit of back stitching, which is not my favorite, but in this context I was absolutely fine with it. The rackets, for instance, the inside of the rackets are a back stitch. The net is a back stitch. And then you see all these little, like with the butterflies over here, that is all back stitch. This is back stitch, but it just gives it such a lovely outlook. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. And then obviously you have this washing line, all of this, so that gives a lovely effect to it. So yes, I was happy with this. I'm not sure what to do with it now. I don't necessarily want to frame it. But yeah, I'm glad that I made it. And I probably just put it up there for just a little bit, exactly like this, and put it in a box. But I loved making it and look forward to making a lot more gnomes in the future. Right, that's all the finishes, fully finishes. And we are moving into my new starts first and then my whips. This is the rose band sampler. Now, I showed you last time that I've bought a sewing box at a brocante, and I'm going to redo the sewing box. So first of all, I want to say thank you to one of you who left a comment saying you should use beeswax for the wood. And I did that, and it was the most satisfying thing I've ever done, because the wood just, I don't know, it was almost lighting up. It was just lovely to do, and the wood is looking near perfect now. So I'm very happy with that change. I've taken out the top because the top had it wasn't necessarily stitched, but some fabric on top. I have taken that out. It was glued on top. So now I can actually grab it and show you. So this is the box that I got. And you can already see how the wood is now looking beautifully. All the scratches are gone. I'm just really, really happy with that change. This is sad because there was a little wooden handle here that's gone. So I don't know how to fix that yet. I might want to put new handles on both sides, but I don't know yet. For now, it is what it is. So here on the top, there was fabric on it, and you can see it was glued. So now there's glue on here. There's a little bit of paper sort of stuck into here. So later today, I will get some sanding paper, very fine sanding paper, and try to sand it off, just so that it is at least nice and smooth. And then my idea is to put the both sides of the rose sampler, and I think I will either use both sides or I will stitch the roses twice, and put that on here. And I've decided to use magnets so that in future, if I ever want to change that, I can, and I don't have these ugly glued stains. I just have magnets on here, and I can swap it out if I want. So I'm very happy again with the wood and how it's turned out. And now I will sand it down, well, just the top, mind you, not the rest. I'll sand this and get some magnets so that I can stick the new pattern on there. So the rose band sampler is my perfect pattern. It is pink with green. It's a rose. What more does one need? So I'm stitching this on a 20 count linen Aida, so linen look Aida. And I'm stitching it with one strand of DMC. It's all called for. And there is one green, and that is a Gentle Arts. I've never stitched for Gentle Arts before. I really like the floss. I think it's really nice. It's soft. It's softer than Weeks Dye Works, I think. So yeah, I love working with Gentle Arts. And I'm already here. Look at that. I'm flying through this piece. I find it just so enjoyable. The colors are right up my street. I really like the 20 count linen look. I'm very happy with this fabric. And I think it suits perfectly with the rose. Now the idea is to do the rose, obviously, and then use one of the borders on the other side of the pattern to go around it, so that when I put it on there, it covers it. Because if I only have this, it's slightly too small really for the square that it needs to fit in. So I will put a border around it, and then I think I will stitch this one twice, and then have exactly the same on either side. I think this is beautiful. I have no other words for it. I think it is absolutely beautiful. One of you sent me a picture of your finished pillow, and that pillow was beautiful. It was just well finished with the right colors. So thank you for sending that. And if any of you ever thinks, oh, I've made one of those and I have a beautiful finish, do send it my way. I really love that. And my email address is in the description box as well. So yeah, I love this. I think this is very, very pretty. I could stitch this all day and be very, very happy. Yeah. And I love the 20 count. I'm finding that one strand of floss on a 20 count Aida is quickly becoming my favorite above a 16 count or an 18 count. I just think it comes out so fine and pretty. It comes out very, very pretty. So when I'm going to that to het Garenhuis in Knokke the coming days, I will look at more 20 count fabrics and hope they have some. So yeah, this will look lovely on the box. I think it will look absolutely stunning. So I can't wait for that really. But we'll get there. I think one of you said, oh, that's a lovely idea, but I wish it was closer to being a finish. But you see, I'm going quite fast. Then I started a pattern that is not a pattern I would normally start, because it is very much a more primitive stitching style. I don't have much primitive stitching in my whips. But this one, I really loved the colors. I loved the way it was put together. I thought it was just stunning. The blue is jumping out to me. So I thought I'm going to do that anyway. And I was on a holiday and I didn't have the right fabric. It always happens. The Netherlands doesn't have LNSs everywhere, so you can't just get the fabric you want. There's usually a shop where you can get DMC and you can get quite cheap Aida 14 count. If you're lucky, there's a 16 or an 18, but it's usually quite cheap Aida fabric. So I did a lot of searching because I wanted to start this one. I was looking forward to it. And then I found a web shop that I'd looked at previously, and she operated from Snake, which is where I was. And so I sent her an email asking if instead of her sending it to my address, if I could collect it. And she was okay with that. So I could collect another linen look, but this time I chose for an 18 count. So this I am stitching on Aida 18 count linen look with the DMC flosses, and I'm doing almost all of it called for. The only difference is the picture looks like this with sort of a linen look fabric and then a white house. But when I got the pattern, it is charted up for a white fabric and a beige house. So I decided to just stick with the picture because I was drawn to the picture. So I have a beige background and I have a white house, and I chose blank. So I haven't gone for the whitest white. I've considered 3865, but eventually felt that I quite like the brightness of this pattern. So I'll go with a bright white. The blue is just stunning. It's 3750 DMC color. And this is a brown. There's not much of it in there that I picked from Stash because I didn't have the brown. I forgot to buy it. So I thought I'll just use whatever I have. I'm loving it. It's a very different stitch from what I normally do, but I just like this pattern. And I like the saying, I like bless this house. I've always wanted to put something near my front door. I think this will be perfect. There's another pattern that I have looked at so many times. It's a small one, and it says, a stitcher lives here. I think it's Duff Samplers or something on Etsy. That's another one I want to put by my door. But yeah, this one is, I'll first do this one. And again, the colors are stunning. I'll see if I can grab the colors and show you. Let's see. Oh, no, I thought I put them on a thingy. Or is it a different bag? It's a different bag. There you go. Great pinks. I'm not sure you can see that properly. The lighting is rubbish this morning. I don't think you can properly see that. The pinks, I can tell you, again, it's all DMC, are 3687 and 3803. So they're bright pinks. And then lovely blues. It's all very, very pretty. So yes, happy with that new start. And it's not a big one, and I'll go through it quite quickly. Then we move on to my landmarks. And I'm just going to open my app because I should tell you what this is for pattern. Do I still have it in my app? No, I don't. Oh well. I've only done one, and I think last time I said 2 next ones I'm going to do, and then I did a completely other one. I think I said last time as well, if I have to do something, I don't want to do it anymore. So I chose something else. And this is another one. It's that one that I did. This is another one that when you're stitching it, you're thinking, I'm not sure. This is just a blob of beige. And as you continue, it suddenly just becomes something. And especially when you put it down, you walk away to get a cup of tea or something, and then you come back. That's when you see it. And that's always great fun. And I will put on the screen what this is, because again, I've forgotten. I've read up on it, but I've forgotten. And yeah, I think it's very, very pretty. And the colors, again, pull it nicely together. And now I will do another one that has a bit more green in. I've actually now put the statue of Jesus in Mexico. I've put that one for the last empty spot. It's not the last one. I've decided to continue on this fabric, even though it's getting a bit grimy. But yeah, I will continue because look how pretty. And it was my aim to stitch 2 before the next Flosstube. But I can't really take this one with me because it's so big. Because it's so much fabric. I don't want to be bothered with that. And I go on holiday taking my bicycle. So I only have 2 bags on the back of my bicycle, and I have a backpack. So that everything needs to fit in there. So, and I do usually take quite a lot of projects. I think I took about 6 projects and then started a 7th. So I do like to have choice. So I take little ones with me, and this one was obviously too big. I'll try to show you close up. Lovely. It's not the favorite sky on this one. It has a bit of I don't know, the wavy stuff, not my favorite. But I think it turned out pretty, and I think I like the difference to all the pieces. The sky is always slightly different. except for this one. It doesn't have sky. It's the only one that doesn't have sky. And doesn't have grass either. So it's the only indoor one. So yeah, very happy with this progress. And now moving on to 2, 4, 6, 18, 12, 14, 16, 18. The 20th. My 20th little one. And don't be fooled. It is more than 4,000 stitches, one of these. So it does take a bit of stitching. It's not a quick finish. Happy with that one. It's getting warmer and warmer in here, so I'm just going to pause for a second and get a bit more water, and then we'll continue. Right, ready for the second installment, or the second part. This is my almost finish. And there's a thread hanging from it. I'm sorry, I have a few pieces with threads hanging. That's because I've been busy working on them. This is, I keep forgetting the name. It's a French designer. It's from Etsy. And they have a lot of these similar patterns with a lot of white and then a little bit of color. And I really enjoyed, when I saw it first, I thought that's beautiful. And I have to be honest, stitching it has been a bit of a challenge because the color balance, now I've changed a lot of things, and I've already pointed out to you a few things. So the house here, the fence is a different color. I've chosen a gray rather than a white here. This house I've stitched white instead of blue because there's a lot of blue in this area, barely any blue here. I've given the child was fully white, so I've given the child a jacket and a hat in blue, and then the full person on the horse again is fully in color except the head. So that's a change as well because I think they only had blue trousers on. So I've made quite a few changes, and then when I was about to stitch this last horse, it suddenly dawned on me that what is bothering me most maybe is that I find the style of the tree very different to the rest of the pattern. So somehow it doesn't fit. And I thought, oh, should I take the whole tree out and just have a line coming down here and then write the Schelling? But I can't be asked to take it all out. So I've left it. But if I would redo this stitch and I would decide to stitch it again, I would leave out the tree and I would just stitch some words here, put some birds in there. Yeah, that's what I would do. So yeah, it's weird how you're stitching something and suddenly you realize where it doesn't seem to come together. But I will finish the last horse. It's just a horse left. I've decided not to put the Schelling on it. I've tried everything. I've tried to put it anywhere, but the Schelling is a long name, so it's difficult to put it anywhere in at the moment. I don't have enough space, so I'm gonna leave it. Also because I can't unsee it now. That's the problem, isn't it? I can't unsee that this bit, to me, seems a very different style of design than this bit. I do like the little quirky thing. So I like the fact that this is sort of the kite is coming over it makes it a bit more fun, if you will. I love the bicycle, which is very Dutch. It is the same color as my bicycle, so that just works. I love this section. This alone could be a little pillow. If you wanted to make a little pillow, that would be a perfect section to stitch. You could even choose to stitch all of this and make little changes and stitch that as a little pillow. So there are bits that I really, really like. And then there are bits that I just, I don't know, not sure about. But yeah, I love them. I love this section. it's here that I've struggled with color and with style. But it's nearly finished, and I will finish it. And I might even make it into a bag, because I'm a beach person. I like living in Zeeland, which is there's a lot of water here. So yeah, the theme really suits me. And this has always been my dream. I can't ride a horse, but that would be lovely, riding a horse on the beach. I don't think there's anything better than that. So there you are. That's this one. This is stitched on 18 count. I think beige, not sure. And I am nearly finished. There you are. Then this is one that I have taken with me, and I've stitched quite a lot on this on the train. The train journey was about, I think, 4 hours to Sneek and then 4 hours back. And halfway I had a few days in the Utrechtse Heuvelrug, which is sort of a foresty environment. So I had a few days there as well. So whenever I was in a train, I would usually pick this one up. I didn't bring my regular travel piece because I really wanted to make progress on Red and Black by UB Design. And it had a lot of block stitching, and I thought, well, that's perfect for the train. So all this beige I did in the train, and that was just easy. Because I take the bicycle, I usually sit near my bicycle, and that's, I don't know, third class. So, you know, you don't have a table or anything. So having just one color to stitch is just easy. Then for the way back, I stitched this section. Oh, excuse me. There you go. This is stitched on 16 count with all called for DMC. And I've made a slight error with that butterfly up there, so I have to take a few stitches out. But that's okay. So this one is also nearing a finish. It's really getting there because this is the top. So I've reached the top, I've reached the side. It's just this section that needs stitching. And yeah, I'm making good progress on it. I don't like the block stitching necessarily, but if you pick your moments right, it's absolutely fine. And I think this is a lovely piece. People in the train comment on it as well. They say they like it. So that's always nice to hear, isn't it? I think it's quite modern. I think that's a lot of people who don't stitch find it slightly old-fashioned because they know nothing about it. But a piece like this could show them very well that it, you know, it can be very modern. This is quite a modern piece. UB Design, I think, has a lot of modern pieces. I hope that the shop that I'm going to will have a few UB Design to pick from. Then we move on to a piece that I did a lot of stitching on whilst I was in my little house and in my hotel room in Utrecht. Because this is Magic Needle, and it is Roses for a Neeldewoman, and it is perfect. A stitch like this just is perfect. I could stitch on this all day and not get bored. So I've done a lot compared to last time. I've done all of this on the side here next to the white rose. Then I went straight into the red rose and then continued with this little bit of the hoop. Now this is not a hoop, and it will have another rosebud in between. There will be a pink purplish rose over here in the colors that I used in that ribbon, or bow rather. And then there are a few more buds, and then I'm done. So this bottom layer is completely done. There's a rose here and there's some buds here, and that's it. I love this piece. I stitch it on 16 count. I substituted the fabric that came in the kit, and I could not be happier. I did when I was stitching on it. I do like to iron my pieces whilst I'm stitching on it. Not, just because then I stitch neat. I stitch in hand. I don't use a hoop or anything. I just stitch in hand. So it's nice to have your pieces ironed. So when I was in Snake, I bought myself a small iron because I didn't have that. And usually when you go on holiday somewhere, they have an iron somewhere. This little house didn't. And I thought, well, actually, it's very easy to have a tiny one. I can just take it with me on my travels because I always want to iron my pieces. And knowing that I can makes me very, very happy. So I took that from the blocker, if you're interested. And was very happy to iron it and then continue with it. And that's how I finished that full rose, which I think is very, very pretty. Yeah, this is just, Magic Needle is my favorite when it comes to kits. And the stitch route is so easy, and that is so important for a stitch like this. Because, there's a lot of color in here. There's a lot of, it's not confetti, but it's a lot of counting, a lot of different colors, swapping colors all the time. I hope you can see it like this. There you go. It's beautiful. Very happy with this stitch. That little hat, I wasn't sure when I first started stitching this, but I just love that little bit. Yeah. Lovely, lovely. Happy with that stitch. And also moving towards a finish. I've got a few pieces now that are getting there. The next one I stitched on this morning, I haven't stitched on this for quite a while. This morning I woke up and I thought, I should stitch on Petit carre. So I did. I stitched 2 little blocks. And here you are. This is a big one, isn't it? Look at it. And I stitched those 2 blocks. And I'm considering taking this with me tomorrow. So I might do another 2 blocks. Or do a bit of the border maybe, because that border still needs finishing as well. Isn't this a pretty piece? There you go. I use different colors than are charted. I picked my own color. I picked I think it's 4504. 5, not sure. Sort of a pinkish with brown. That's a multicolor thread. And then I picked the corresponding colors. So the multicolor I'm only using for the outside border and this line. All the others is just the regular colors that are made up in that thread. But it brings it together nicely. It's difficult to show it because it's so big and I want to show you close up. But I don't know how. I don't know what you're seeing. I hope you're seeing the 2 blocks that I stitched. And if not, I hope you're enjoying whatever you're seeing. So yeah, happy with that progress this morning. Very pretty. That's one more piece and then we're through with all the pieces. Then I have some sewing left to show you. Don't expect too much because I'm not a great sewer, but I have done some sewing and I have some haul as well. And this progress I'm most proud of. It is Moonlit Garden, and I took Moonlit Garden with me, and I haven't taken it with me on holidays before because it is big. It's 18 count. It's I'm stitching with silk, and that doesn't feel like something you could just take in a train with you and stitch on wherever. And I didn't. I stitched on it when I was at my at the place where I was staying. But I did stitch quite a lot on it, way beyond my own expectations. So I have finished row 3, and I did not expect that was going to happen. I thought I was going to stitch this hydrangea and then have this one completely left open, so I would have to do that. But I completely finished a row, and then I was able to continue the border here and start the 4th row as well. And I loved it. I really enjoyed stitching on this, and look how pretty this is becoming. Like I said, this is 18 count. Ada is stitched with 1 strand of swaddle white, and I stitched with a 4098. And I think I bought from several places, because at first I didn't realize how much floss this is going to take. So I think I bought about 3. I knew that wasn't enough, but I thought I'll get quite far. But this takes a lot of floss. So I got another 2 and then another 1, and I just added to it. And as I was stitching here and I moved to another skein, my mum was there as well. They visited. And I said to mum, look at this. It doesn't look like the same color, and it looked slightly yellowish. And it was exactly the same number, but it wasn't the same color. So there was about 3 strands, I think, 3 skeins, sorry, that I gave to my mum, because you can use them separately on any piece, but I can't use it in this because I've used bright white, and then suddenly moving to yellowish is not right. So I had 1 skein that was still the white, so I'm using that one. And then my Stitchy Kindness, I'll give you a little preview on that, but someone sent me her skein that she had left over. And that's again a white, so I'm very happy with that, because it, like I said, this drinks floss. You need a lot of floss for this. And I only use 1 strand, so I don't use that much. The coverage is nice. Should I restart this, I might want to stitch on a 20 count. But I'm quite happy with the 18. It doesn't bother me. And I've made so much progress. I can't believe it. Yeah. So there's a small one here. There's another small one on top of that, but that again is very stitch heavy. And then there is quite a big one. That's the middle. And then I stitch this again at the top. So there's still a lot to do on this one, but that's okay. I've had great fun so far, and I'll continue having great fun in the future. Yeah, and this 4th row is relatively easy to stitch. So this has been a very difficult row. This was fun to stitch, but stitch heavy. This is easier. And I think this is very pretty. Yes, happy with that. And that's all my stitching. That's quite a bit. And that in only 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks, give it 2.5. And then I also had, I think, 2 days of barely any stitching and just sewing. I put my sewing machine, which I received from one of the viewers who was happy to sell it to me for a very friendly price. And it's very much a beginner's sewing machine, because I'm no good at sewing. And I'm very much self-taught, because we've never really done this. I think when I was in primary school, we did it once or twice. But basically what happened is we were sitting there and then the teacher was behind us doing it. So yeah, that didn't really work. So I'm self-taught. I watch YouTube videos, and then basically rewatch that a million times and then try it myself. That's basically what happens. But I wanted to make a few bags, and I looked at a few bags and they all had zippers in, and I I'm a bit scared of the zipper. I'm also a bit worried that my machine, because it is a beginner's machine, it doesn't have a zipper foot or anything. So I'm a bit worried that it can't take the zipper. So I thought, can I make anything that doesn't have a zipper? And as you do on YouTube, you just keep watching until you see something that looks rather nice. And I saw drawstring pouches. And I thought, that's perfect. It doesn't have a zipper, and I can just put a string in it. And I wanted to make a few floss bags. So up until now, I had my floss basically in those little see-through bags that you use to keep your food fresh. And that's absolutely fine. I still use those because it's easy and quick. But I thought, wouldn't it be nice for the patterns that I have out lying around to have a nice little pouch with that? So I set about sewing my first one. And this is the first one I made. So I was properly pleased with this. I still had this fabric left over from some book sleeves that I made when I just got the sewing machine, and I thought, I'll just make this. I made a boxed bottom. I couldn't believe it. And the thing is also, because you're sewing it, at some point I was really thinking, is this right? Because I was sewing parts together and I thought, how can this ever turn right? But then when you turn it round, this is what happens. And you have it properly stands up on its own and it becomes this lovely, lovely pouch. I put a bit of, what do you call this in English? It's the stuff you put in between to make it a bit more firm, fluffy. A lot of people put it in project bags as well. So I put a layer of that, a thinner layer, I think, than I would use for a project bag or a book sleeve, but just to get it nicely standing up. And then I put the strings in it, and it all came together, and I thought, wow, I made that. But it is a bit too big because I decided on the size myself. And I will put the link to the YouTube video that I watched on this because it's very clear. I will put that in the description box if you want to make one of these yourself. Anyway, I thought the size is a bit too big because I made up my own sizes. I did not do the sizes she was doing. And I thought, I want to make a smaller one. So I did. And I went shopping for fabric, which is great fun. And I made this one. Isn't that cute? This time I didn't do cord. I used just a ribbon, and I have a million ribbons anyway. So that was easy. I again have a boxed bottom. Isn't that cute? Now this looks very neatly sewn, but if any sewer, proper sewer, would open it up, they would have a heart attack because the inside is not pretty. But it's good enough for me. Good enough for me. I don't think I sewed straight everywhere, it's all those kind of things. But I had fun, and I think the end result is very, very pretty. So if you're watching and thinking, oh, I wanted to sew something, but I don't think I can, if I can learn it, so can you. Then I got the hang of it, and I made yet another one. I like going to secondhand shops and to brocante and everything. And this was a little piece of fabric. 30 cents. And I made it into a little bag. And I thought, isn't that lovely? With again, just a ribbon and a boxed bottom. Isn't that cute? And this is obviously another piece of fabric. And you make little strips of that to go on there. I think it is just absolutely lovely. I'm just thinking if this is what she does as well in the video. I don't think it is. I think I put two videos together because there was a young woman. It was the first one I watched who did it like this. So she added just sort of a strip at the top, and you can put your string through it. I think the lady in the video that I'll try to put both in, and I sort of combined both patterns and made this. And then the last one I made, which I think is the prettiest. Look at the fabric and the green on top. I love that one, this one. So pretty. So yeah, I think I made a fifth as well. I don't know where that one is. And I would love to have one for all of my projects. But since I now have about 26 projects, that's not going to happen ever. But I do want to make a few more, maybe later this holiday, because I really enjoyed making this. And it was such fun to see them come together and use all these pretty fabrics. I mean, that's also fun, isn't it? So that's all my little pouches, and they all have floss in. So this one, for instance, very blue. So my floss in here belongs to the beach one that I've nearly finished. Right, so I went shopping at the web shop in Friesland. And I wanted to get the fabric. That was my main aim. And the fabric is this one. And I've shown you that for Bless This House. So I got some of that. And then I thought, oh, I like her floss rings. So she has with the little scissors on there. And then she also has threads, and they are called Nina's threads. Nina threads. And I thought those are very pretty. And I'm not going to use them together because I don't think they go together. But they are very pretty. And you see that? So this is sort of a brownish. There are two pinks. And then there is a purple. And they are hand-dyed flosses. And they are very pretty. Now the pink I'm going to start using for making another modern folk embroidery biscuit nu. So I've picked two more patterns from the eight that I bought, and I'm going to stitch one in this pink on Ivory Ada. And I have it lying there. I've done just a few stitches, so I won't show you, but I'll show you next time. And I wasn't sure what to put with that because I like to do them in 2 or 3 colors. And then my stitchy kindness happened. So Inga, one of the viewers, very kindly sent me an email that the first one I didn't see, it probably got in my spam box, but she reached out to me again via comments saying, did you find my email? And she resent it, which was very kind. And she said to me, could I send you some floss? And she sent me the white floss for my Moonlit garden, which again, very nice. I'm going to use that. But added to that, she put just a little sample of 100.3 Aberystwyth. So this is also silk floss, but it is very, very thin, thin floss. And she says, I love stitching this on 20 count, 2 threads. I love that. And has invited me to try it as well. So I will. I haven't yet, but I will, because this looks very soft and very pretty. So I will try this, and if I like it, I might buy some and stitch something in that. I think Aberystwyth 100.3 doesn't have as many colors yet, which I think is a shame for now. But for instance, for a biscuit nu or something small, it will be lovely. So I think a piece like Moonlit Garden, if you stitch it on 20 count, I could have used this as well. Anyway, thank you very much, Inga. I love this and I will try it. She also added 2 of these, which are, I think, is this variegated or multicolor? I'm not sure which one these are, but they are pretty. I love the bluish green, the teal one. And then the other one is different kinds of blue and slight purple. I don't know if you can see it properly. I don't know what to use these for yet, but I'll find something. Don't worry. I have more of these. I've when I got the big stash of 127 bobbins at a second-hand shop for a tenner, there was quite a lot of green variegated floss, and I'm still looking for something like for that as well. And I'm thinking about doing an ink circle one with that. And my mum has just started an ink circles pattern, and they're so pretty. So we'll see. And then what she lastly sent, I mean, it was really not necessary, but thank you very much, Inge. I do appreciate it. Is this lovely piece of floss. And it's a light green. And this is, let me check, hand-dyed CGT, Blue Cypress. I have never heard of this. It's from Australia. A mother and daughter duo, Pam and Katie. So this is from Australia. I love that. I love to have something from different countries. Anyway, very pretty. Will go very nicely, I think, with the pink. But this might be the color combo I'm going to use for my next Disc or New with a pattern from Modern Folk Embroidery. So very timely again. I might get a darker pink at the shop tomorrow if they have it. Sorry, a darker green to bring a bit more color in. But I do like this. This does work together. So that's all of that. So Inge, thank you very much. I will enjoy using it. And it's just very kind that you thought of me and decided to send something. So thank you. And that's it. That's all my stitching. And I aim to be back before my holiday's over. So that will probably be in 2 weeks. A little bit over 2 weeks maybe. And then show you everything that I've done, and then we go back into a normal rhythm where I actually have to work. But yeah, for now I'm just enjoying my stitchy weeks and my crafty weeks. I don't know if anyone else has this, but when I start my holiday, my first week, I craft a lot. All the creative energy has to come out, and then it sort of slows down a bit again. Yeah, when I'm working full time, I do miss having time to craft and just try things like this because I want to. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Despite the heat, I have enjoyed it. And I do look a bit flushed and a bit warm, but I'm sorry, that's just how it is. I thank you all for watching. If you are not yet subscribed, please do so. If you've liked the video, give me a thumbs up or give me a comment. I love the comments. I love reading them. I love hearing what you're stitching or what you've been buying. I think that's great fun and it gives me great ideas. And I've had a lot of tips that were very useful. So thank you all for that. And I will see you all again in a couple of weeks. Thank you.